It's a new month, which means we've got some new movies. This video will show you 5 that are probably worth checking out in theaters in April. Number 5, we have Challengers.
You think that tennis is about expressing yourself, doing your thing. But you don't know what tennis is.
What is it?
This is the latest film from director Luca Guadagnino, who most people know from his film Call Me By Your Name, starring Timothée Chalamet and Armie Hammer. This latest film also has a star-studded cast led by Zendaya, who is obviously on a roll now with Dune, with the success of Euphoria, etc., etc. It also stars Josh O'Connor, who is on a little bit of a roll himself, albeit on a smaller scale. He is starring in this film, and he is also starring in La Chimera, which, depending on where you are located, came out just at the end of March or is coming out also in April. Our third star in this film is Mike Feist, who is mostly known for his work in theater. Most notably, he has received a Tony nomination for his role in the well-known Dear Evan Hansen. As I mentioned, this film is directed by Guadagnino, but it is written by Justin Kuritzkis, who you may actually know indirectly as the Potion Seller, which was a viral video back in, I want to say, around 2009, early days of YouTube.
Hello, Potion Seller. I am going into battle, and I want your strongest potions.
He is, believe it or not, a pretty accomplished playwright and novelist, and he is married to Celine Song, who had tremendous success with her film Past Lives just this previous year, and the American character in that film is roughly based on Justin. Anyway, the film itself, I am not 100% convinced, but I am open to it. Essentially, the film follows Zendaya as a former professional tennis player, kind of child prodigy turned coach, coaching her husband as he is trying to kind of get his mojo back following a losing streak. All of this culminating in a Challenger Tour match where he has to face off against his ex-best friend and Zendaya's ex-boyfriend in the film. The premise itself sounds a little bit cheesy, for sure, but given the cast and the crew involved, I am still hopeful. It's a little bit unclear based on what has been released. There have been 2 trailers, but some mixed kind of genre defining going on. Some elements of romance, some elements of sports drama, but then also comedy. So I think it'll be very dependent on what kind of genre they lean into and whether or not that ultimately works. Regardless, it'll be an interesting watch, and it has the potential to be a really good film. This one is coming out at the end of the month on April 26th. Number 4 is Arcadian.
There are those who believe they came after the pollution people caused. And they're here to cleanse the planet of the human race. So we'll all become extinct. We have to stay vigilant. Do you understand?
Yeah.
All right.
Arcadian had its premiere at South by Southwest to a fairly positive response, and it's actually one of 3 South by Southwest films on this list. I will say I am here for the Nicolas Cage renaissance, and this is a Nicolas Cage film. He's coming off some strong performances in a few different titles like Pig, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, and Dream Scenario from just last year. Arcadian is directed by Benjamin Brewer, who actually worked with Nick Cage on his first feature film titled The Trust, which was kind of a slightly different take on a heist film. Two mixed reviews, but he certainly showed his potential there as a director. Arcadian follows Nicolas Cage and his two sons in a kind of post-apocalyptic world where these monsters come out at night. Ultimately, one of his sons leaves the house and doesn't return at night, so Nick Cage essentially needs to go on an adventure to find his son and then ultimately journey together with his two sons in this post-apocalyptic world. If you're riding the Nick Cage train, then probably worth your time. This one is scheduled to come out April 12th, but will be coming out on Shudder sometime afterward as well. Number 3 is Monkey Man.
Close your eyes, and you will find yourself.
When I was a boy, my mother used to tell me a story of a demon king and his army. They brought fire and terror to the land until they faced the protector of the people, the white monkey.
Monkey Man has possibly the most buzz from South by Southwest outside of maybe our number 1 on this list. It is the feature film from Dev Patel, who obviously has had a very successful career as an actor and has been underrated in some of his projects. I would argue most notably The Green Knight, which was a film that I absolutely adored but didn't seem to get that much attention. Dev Patel wrote and directed this film, his first time as a director, and he has been very public about how difficult this process was, how it brought so much self-doubt, how he had to turn aside so many other projects and opportunities to pursue this. And from early critical response, it seems like it was probably worth it. The story is actually inspired by a deity in Hinduism called Hanuman. I'm sorry if my pronunciation is a little bit off there, but often represented as a monkey, Monkey Man, and serves kind of as a symbol of anti-oppression. And so this film, Monkey Man, looks to kind of do a couple of different things. It looks to provide amazing action, super intense sequences, but also have some social messaging. It follows Dev Patel's character, who essentially made a living by getting the blank kicked out of him in an underground fight club while wearing a monkey mask. He then goes on to gain some information about some individuals in society who are oppressing others, who are taking advantage of the system, etc., and he sets out kind of on a revenge tour. There have been some obvious comparisons to films like John Wick, which Patel has intentionally kind of steered away from. He views this project, yes, as a great action kind of revenge thriller, but maybe with a little bit more of that kind of social commentary thrown in there. Monkey Man is coming out early April, scheduled for release on April 5th. Check it out. Number 2 is Housekeeping for Beginners.
United Nations не правиш, а?
Housekeeping for Beginners is a film that I'm super excited about and equally frustrated about when it comes to the lack of information about their distribution strategy. Depending on where you are in the world, some places had a very limited release in January and some others are getting a limited release in April. Kind of odd considering that Focus Features and Universal Pictures have picked this film up for distribution following its premiere at the Venice International Film Festival. Normally those large distributors are quite clear about their distribution strategy, but seems to be kind of lost somewhere for this particular project. Housekeeping for Beginners comes from director Goran Stavelski, who you may or may not be familiar with. He's put out a couple strong indie projects, his first being You Won't Be Alone, which is a wild kind of fantasy, horror, sci-fi thriller, but slow. Kind of an art house picture, but I really did enjoy it. Super creepy. And his second film, which sadly I have not gotten around to watching it, but I'm actually planning on catching it this week. It's on Amazon Prime Video, and that project is Of an Age, which is very different. It appears tonally kind of a queer romance. And this latest project, Housekeeping for Beginners, seems a little bit more aligned with Of an Age. Essentially, it follows actress Anna Maria Marinka as a woman called Dita, as she has to take care, raise her girlfriend's 2 children after spending her entire life never wanting children. So this is really a story about love. It's a story about family, not just your biological family, but the family that you choose or that ultimately chooses you. From what I've heard and seen, it looks like a real tearjerker and emotional, kind of authentic, human film about, like I said, family. As mentioned, distribution is a little bit unclear, but in the US at least, it is getting a release on April 5th. If you're outside of the US, I just stay tuned to your local theaters to see when it's playing, and hopefully it pops up. Number 1 is Civil War.
Indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Go, 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 go!
God bless America.
I've been championing this film since I put out my video for most anticipated films of 2024, and I'm still very much looking forward to it, perhaps even more after its pretty strong response at South by Southwest in March. This film is, of course, from director Alex Garland, who is known for projects like Ex Machina and Annihilation. He also directed the film Men from 2022, which did not have amazing audience and critical response, but which I actually still did enjoy, so he's batting 1,000 in my books. This particular project is bound to be controversial. It is set in a near future United States where, as the title suggests, we have a civil war. Knowing Alex Garland, he has never shied away from social commentary in his filmmaking, exploring issues related to gender roles, oppression, income inequality, etc., etc. And this film will be no different. We all know about the political tensions that currently exist in the United States, and Civil War is sure to explore those. That being said, don't expect something that is just absolutely hitting you over the head with this social and political kind of ideology. It looks to be an absolutely jam-packed action thriller. In fact, its $75 million budget is the largest budget ever given to a film by A24. The responses out of South by Southwest have been almost universally positive, praising Garland's direction, and many kind of coining it the ultimate action picture. Something that is worth watching in theaters and might warrant a rewatch if you don't catch everything that's on screen. It stars many folks in Hollywood, but the lead here is Kirsten Dunst, and Nick Offerman plays the President of the United States, which I am also looking forward to. Civil War is set to hit theaters in a wide release on April 12th.